welcome to Chatz, the television podcast, season 17, Chatz Away. The show where two best friends are watching through the Netflix original series, The OA, for the very first time. My name is Allen, and I'm joined by the mysterious motel manager who gave keys to 4 teenagers and a middle-aged woman, no questions asked. It's Magellan.
There's soda in the vending machine. Any kind of soda you can imagine.
Ooh.
Just kind of turn to dust and blow away in the wind.
Blow away.
Oh!
That hit right when the theme song ended. I timed that flawless.
Oh. Nice.
Thanks, friendo. What's going on?
Nice. Oh.
Oh wait, I have a more. I have a more target question. I know that's a hard question. Let me give you a better question.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your gender this week? There it is.
Oh. That's a good. Something I was reflecting on today. I wore this shirt that Amanda thrifted for me to work, which is it's a button-down shirt, and it's kind of a patchwork of fabrics that looks like a picnic blanket. And it's just so interesting to me that you can wear unusual things to a professional setting, and people will just be like,
all
just
right,
kind of the same face, and it's like, am I not expressing something in front of you? Like, is this not so that's kind of my gender, is like you're a ghost, but you don't realize you're a ghost, so you're like, does nobody see me? Yeah. What about you?
I feel that as a neurodivergent person very often, that and that is also my gender, is neurodivergent person. Phrase exactly like that. I think someone recently, like Kelly was like, you're like, I love seeing you around people. You're so good at socializing. And like, no joke, and you know this, and she now knows this. Every time I socialize with a group of people, my brain afterwards goes, successful interaction. They will never know. And it's like, some will say that historians will say there were signs. I don't feel like that's my default state. I don't know how that's anyone's default state, is to talk to others and like engage with a group or wear an outfit and have it be perceived. Like, I don't know how to. I was playing Uno with people at work today on our break. And somebody,
my condolences.
I love Uno. Don't hate on Uno. I know you're not an Uno fan. We talked about this. It was like Uno Revenge or something. It was like a Uno with like way more plus cards. Just much more like
a more miserable version of Uno. Just like make all the bad stuff even worse. Got it.
It has a card that makes it so like you play green with this symbol, and it means you can play all your green cards, and then whatever the last one is, that's the one that actually plays.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
So because they make your hand bigger, they give you more ways to eliminate your hand. Point is, my coworker kept looking at me and being like, "Don't you notice what's happening?" And I was like, "I do, but like, stop noticing me. Like, I don't want you to know that I'm here. I just want to play and like exist. I don't want to be a member of the social state of this Uno game. I simply want to put my cards down. Stop noticing me." Like, I guess that's also my gender this week. But yeah.
I have one more gender this week, which is, it's like a neon sign that says the word fiance, and the second E is like flickering on and off. And
like at an inn or like a Kmart that's about to close down.
Exactly. And that's because I got engaged over the weekend to fiance of the podcast, Amanda. Awesome. Yeah. So that was exciting. Yeah. Hey, Kirby, how are you?
Kirby's coming to the wedding.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be an amazing get. That would be such a get.
You're engaged. They're engaged, listener. Magellan got engaged. Amanda is now fiance of the podcast. I'm gonna die. I'm so happy. I heard it went really well. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there physically, but I was there spiritually and mentally all weekend. And I'm excited to see you guys continue to build this wonderful life together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a fake recording was part of my tapestry of misdirection. So, everybody, I mean, you were directly involved, and everybody listening to this show,
You were all in it.
you were all in it. So thank you
Yeah.
for existing. Yeah.
Chatz contributed to the proposal announcement, the decoy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, congrats. My sincerest congratulations. And
thank you.
I think that sets the table for us to discuss some really interesting episodes of the OA tonight. Shall we get right into things?
Let's do it.
This week on Chatz OA, we watched the OA Season 2, Episode 5, The Medium and the Engineer, as well as Season 2, Episode 6, Mirror Mirror. Starting things off, The Medium and the Engineer was written by Britt Marling, Damien Ober, and Henry Bean. It was directed by Zalba Manglish, and it aired with the rest of Season 2 on March 22nd of 2019. Magellan, what happened in The Medium and the Engineer?
In this episode, after a harrowing ordeal, Oe and Kareem find themselves locked inside a labyrinth of puzzles. Nagging doubts prompt Homer to snoop on Dr. Percy.
Ooh, Snoopy.
And it should say nagging doubts prompt Dr. Roberts to snoop on Hap, if we really think about it, right? Well, I guess he's snooping on Dr. Percy, but he doesn't know he's snooping on Hap.
He doesn't know he's snooping on Hap, yeah. But yes, that's Dr. Roberts. Golly. Yeah. Magellan, what did you think of The Medium? No, you first. No, fuck. Okay, fine. I didn't like this episode very much. I found it really frustrating and unsatisfying. And it's kind of the root of like everything I'm disliking about the OA Season 2, which is an unrelenting need to keep building more mysteries. And two, it is just becoming a 2019 Netflix show in every way. And that means more plot twists. And that means the darkest scenes you've ever seen in your life. Oh my God. I hated looking at it. I feel like this episode added nothing to my enjoyment of the show other than, last week I was like, I can't wait to see them solve the puzzles. And it's like, God, it's like a Mario 64 floor puzzle. That's it? Come on. There's got to be some more. And you made an excellent point in your notes, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the show has now officially written significantly more checks than it can cash, to the point where you get to the end of these episodes and you're like, and this is where the show starts. Wait. Uh-oh. I regret to inform you there are 2 episodes left. Oh, no. Yep. And it's like nakedly obvious in this one that like we've got now we have a past timeline in Dimension B. We've got a present timeline. We're talking about the medium and the engine and the engineer. We're talking about so much stuff. And we're still solving this mystery. We're still like, not to jump into things, but like Kareem being like, where's Michelle? Where's Michelle? I'm like, dog, I forgot we were looking for Michelle. I forgot that was the whole point of any of this. But I don't want to reveal all my takes yet. Magellan, what did you think?
Yeah, I felt similarly. I was not in love with this episode. I mean, the parts of it that I was actually able to watch, because some of it was just so dark that I could not see it on my phone screen when I was taking my lunch break. But yeah, as you were alluding to, by the end of the second episode, the feeling that you have is that this season is trying to do what is kind of the classic like second installment thing, whether it's the second installment in a book series or the second movie in a trilogy or something, where like for some reason I'm thinking of The Matrix Reloaded, which there's not really much narratively. Oh no, actually, yeah. Because The Matrix can be an amazing movie on its own, and it can like allude to there's this bigger world that's like beyond our comprehension, but we know enough about the shape of it to understand this core character and what it is they're trying to accomplish and what the world means to them, what they mean to the world, and then we're going to do their arc and then it's going to be done. So The Matrix is a movie, you're like, oh my God, that's one of the best movies of all time.
Right.
And then The Matrix Reloaded is like, okay, this is in some ways the second Matrix movie, but in some ways it's the first movie after The Matrix.
Yeah.
So it has to do a lot of first stuff. Like, okay, actually what you understood before, it's a little bit wider than that. And characters who you thought you knew what they knew, they actually know more than they did. And the
Mhm.
main character is even more significant, and in a way that makes you feel more disconnected from them because you're like, what, like, how is this affecting you? What do you even want at this point? I don't know that I fully understand that. Or we're
Mhm.
like having to reiterate what you wanted the first time around to give you some kind of an arc. So I think, but at the same time, holy shit, there's lots of cool stuff happening, and there's some great ideas getting thrown in the pot. So I feel very similarly, I think, about this season as to how I feel about The Matrix Reloaded, just as an example of that phenomenon. Um, but at least The Matrix Reloaded, there's another movie after it. So, no matter how good or bad that movie is, they're going to get to an ending. And here we know that they're not going to. So that's, not so great. And yeah, this episode just really went in on I mean, the
The
fact that
house.
there's an extended thing with the what's his face narration to Hap.
Mhm.
What's his
Ruskin,
name?
Pierre Ruskin.
Ruskin. And Vincent Kartheiser's like, as lore has it. And it's like,
Oh.
why am I getting this like long ass lore drop from this guy who is himself a piece of lore? I've like never met this man. And now his disembodied voice is like giving me exposition, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that kind of stuff. And then there's sort of like, oh, and maybe there's like a struggle between good and evil that's beginning to coalesce. And I don't care about that either. Like it's I don't know. Um I wasn't a huge fan of this episode because it just muddies the waters in a not fun way, I think.
Your Matrix comparison is so apt though, because
Hap apt.
they were able to filmed that to be two parts. They filmed them
Mhm.
together and they both came out. And then they also got to make a fourth movie that like further
Mhm.
tied together some stuff, allowed them to try new ideas. And that's what I imagine a season 3 of the OA would be like, is
Yeah.
deeply self-indulgent and absurd, but like gives you a conclusion that
Yes.
satisfies.
It would be so much like the fourth Matrix movie. Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's so true.
And I'd love it. And I was thinking about that a
I would
lot when I
eat it
finished
up.
episode 6. I was like, do I
I
really
would
want
eat it
season
up.
3 anymore? And then I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to suck, but it's going to suck in a fascinating way.
Mm.
And they will wrap it up. They know at this point we live in 2026 and the show is
Yeah,
so
they're
much
not gonna get
concerned.
5. Yeah.
No. The show is so concerned with like the material conditions of our reality get worse and worse unless we find ways to change them, that like to exist over a decade, like 6 or 7 years
Mhm.
after this season, is to accept that like, yeah, we're kind of in this reality, and in this one Netflix doesn't give us a fourth season. So like they would,
Mhm.
if we'll talk about that when we talk about the finale, but like if they make a new one, they got to take what they can get and make something out of it. Don't expect to get more,
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
look at an episode like The Medium and the Engineer and I go, you guys are not getting a new season. Fuck
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
You write your checks. Like, dog, this episode starts in such a modern TV way of like, here's something completely different. And you're like,
Oh, that part I loved.
me too,
That
me too.
the it's like the Ryan was talking last week about Death Stranding, and I wrote in my notes, okay, this is the first Strand type episode of the
Yeah.
OA. That part is so good, and then we cut away from it.
I almost
But
wish we stayed
please
there.
describe it. Yeah.
The thing is, the OA, and I texted you this, and I've been saying it a lot. Every week, the OA goes, it's like an ADHD show of just going like, I don't want to do that anymore. No, totally new thing. This is my
Mhm,
new
mhm,
thing. And then someone had to be like, hold on, you like wrote a plot,
mhm,
like continue the plot. And they're like, no,
mhm,
now we're in ancient England and Homer has to deliver wood to an old woman who has skin samples and he needs to touch the skin of
mhm,
his lover. This is real, listener. Let me repeat myself,
mhm,
we are in some sort of version of ancient England where a very
mhm,
heavily bearded, long-haired Homer, same actor,
Mhm.
brings a bundle of sticks to an old lady who I don't think I recognized, and is
I don't
like,
think so.
"This is what I have." And she says, "All the sticks in England in the world wouldn't let me give you what you're looking for, but I'll let you touch, and maybe you can find out which one you want." Takes him into her cabin, and there's all these like draped over pieces of skin and like human body flesh that he can
Mhm.
touch and caress and kiss to find his lover, because he's looking for his lover.
Mhm.
And that's it. And we come.
Excellent.
What's going on? You know
Excellent.
what? Fuck you. English class it. What's going on here?
Excellent. So good.
What's going on here?
Um, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's something. Yeah, it's a scene where you're like, whoa, yeah. But I don't know that I could begin to break it down. I mean, I think the kind of like, you know, a place where I can begin. Okay, Homer is on an odyssey to return home to his lady, and this is one of the sort of things that he encounters on the way. Um, the skin, I don't know. There's something about that line. You like the boys, or are you looking for a girl? And it's like, is this another trans thing in this show that is like surprisingly trans? Uh, and then that's not really what it is. And then this is all Dr. Roberts's dream.
Yep.
So is this just him kind of like lost in Dr. Roberts's mind or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
could be
know.
it. I think it's symbolic. I think it reminds me of very much so the scene at the beginning of season 2 of The Leftovers, where we're
Mhm.
like in ancient times and the woman sees everybody in her tribe die to a natural incident.
Mhm.
That was exactly what it reminded me of like, this is not worth overthinking. This is more of a emotional tone piece of like, what does it mean to
Mhm.
search for somebody who he says, I've only seen her, I only touched her once. Like taking
Mhm.
the idea of touching somebody else when you were in Hap's prison and literalizing that as skin is like creepy and evocative in a
Mhm.
way that I can get behind for about 5 minutes before I'm like, okay, let's go, guys. Let's tell a story now. But I liked it. I thought this was like really interesting and well made. This little sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something in it about like searching for human connection in a world that like commodifies bodies, and like objectifies, fetishizes
Right.
our very forms. Um, and it's kind of like a this playing out of the phenomenon that like memories get tied to your senses. A smell can take you back somewhere.
Right.
It's almost like the Homer psyche is like trying to perceive a sense in the outside world that will bring him to the front of
Yes.
Dr. Roberts's mind or something. And that's kind of cool.
It's all there. Right.
Yeah.
And it gives you room to explore it, which I think is what works so well about it. It's like, okay, you figure this out. And I also want the OA to do more of that and not be like, well, we're gonna tell you in another episode, or we're gonna tell you. It's like, just let me vibe it out. This
Mhm.
first scene is a confidence that honestly the rest of the episode does not have, because we have
Yeah.
three sort of plots. One is basically symbolic, one is
Mhm.
entirely expository, and the second one is entirely action based.
Mhm.
So we start with the OA and Korean plot line, which is
Mhm.
essentially summarized as: we've entered the house, the entire floor is a puzzle, we line up the patterns on the floor, and meanwhile we are split up. The OA falls into a forest where a forest spirit of sorts tells her that the octopus creature was another one of their friends and that she needs to work together. What's the exact phrasing here of what it tells her, or what's
It's like you need to gather a tribe or something like that. I think it
yeah.
says you need to form a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
No tree survives alone in the forest. It tells her Nina Azarova is the key because
Good.
Nina Azarova is a medium, which is why the OA is able to commune with like the squid guy and the tree thing.
Yeah, these spirits. Good thing episode 7 is called Nina Azarova.
Great.
Maybe that's the
Which
key.
should all get answered and figured out.
Perfect.
No problem.
Nary an issue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, again, part of my feelings about this, it can't help but have it be colored by the fact that I know that we only get 2 more episodes. But it feels like part of what season 2 is trying to do is be like, hey, you thought you knew the rules of our multiverse from season 1. Well, actually, it's not just NDEs. It's dreams. It's like European ladies with little robots that teleport them around because they have good sex. That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's tree spirits. It's squid guys. It's like all of it, man. All of it is all of it. And I think last episode, when it's like we got a squid guy, that was pretty cool to me because it sort of felt like they were making this point about faith and belief and how you can kind of arrive at the same truths from different avenues. And so there is something about like, well, the OA's particular sensitivity to the supernatural is from her NDE. Nina Azarova's sensitivity is from being a medium, and that is like its own thing in this dimension. But then there was just something about like the tree spirit that almost felt too like literal is not the word, but when it was like, gosh, I'm friends with the squid guy and we're a team and you got to team up to fight. It's like, this is starting to make a little too much sense almost, and feel like there actually is one cohesive set of deities or spirits, or I don't even know. But I just didn't love it. And also I couldn't help but feel like it was a little weird that in the narration it's like this house was built on native land, and she finds like, weren't those like paintings, like indigenous paintings on the wall or something?
I think so.
That she like went through, and the things like find a tribe. It just feels like that feels a little weird, and I'm not loving that. So I don't know.
You know, Magellan, this show owes so much to Twin Peaks.
So much to Twin Peaks.
Every scene in this plot line feels like it's pulled out of Twin Peaks, either original series or The Return, including the like questionable racism.
That the amount of times that we go to a motel, like it's all the FBI guy knowing stuff. It's all Twin Peaks, baby.
That's what, and that's the thing is like Twin Peaks, and by extension Twin Peaks The Return, never makes any qualms about showing you things and electing not to explain them, right? The famous David Lynch quote, laughs does not answer, I think is what it is. You never go into it expecting it, but this show keeps stringing you along in that modern TV way and being like, okay, but if you just come with me a little further, I'm gonna tell you everything. And it's like, dog, no you're not. No you're not. And that's not just because I know you're canceled, but like I don't need a show that just constantly strings me along like this. Like even Severance, which is another classic, like currently airing mystery show, is like doling out its answers season by season, even though their production is so slow and like chaotic. And at the core of it is like a really fascinating premise that they are exploring every episode, which is what if you could separate your work self and your outside self? That's simple, and that's in every episode of Severance. But the OA is like losing its central plot. We had somebody in the Chatz Discord who was saying that they finished season 2, so I don't want to talk too much about this yet, but they were like, oh, season 2 kind of like betrays what season 1 was about, which was like faith and spirituality. And you talked about this last week as well. It's like, when was the last time we talked about believing in something or religion or cults in a meaningful way in these in the A and the B dimension storylines? It feels like we just don't think about that at all.
Yeah, I think this episode is kind of the worst of it getting a little too enamored of its own world building ideas, which again, if there was more runway, I think I would be less annoyed by it.
Right, right.
But I think because I know there's so little left, it's like, no, I want this to mean something.
Yeah.
Don't tell me new things because it's not going to mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a big difference between it and Twin Peaks, which is not a point against the OA at all, but kind of highlights what the different feeling is like when you're watching Twin Peaks, you know that Dale Cooper is so far behind
Right.
what's going on. Like, this guy's not going to figure it out.
Correct.
He's a smart fella. He's meeting the people he needs to meet. He's on the trail, but like it's not happening, Coop. You're not going to solve the mystery in time. Whereas the OA, you have the OA herself and you have Hap, both of whom are very intelligent characters, both of whom are very driven to like find out what they need to find out to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
And you see them learn stuff and do stuff. So the show is saying one of them's gonna crack this thing wide open, and it's just a matter of who gets there first. But then that puts you as a listener or a viewer in the position of like, okay, well then you need to cash these checks. Like, you need to set up something and pay it off, which they just don't have the time to do, unfortunately.
That's the short and long of it.
Yeah.
The B plot, as I said, is entirely expository. This is Dr. Roberts sneaking into Hap's lab, Dr. Percy's office, with the help of Darmy. Shout out to Darmy. Darmy Watch 2026, baby. Big D. We love Darmy. This is so funny. He's like, hey, Rachel's stuff is still in her room. And she's like, who's Rachel? And he's like, the patient who like we moved to another hospital. And she's like, oh,
she says, oops.
I love this. Dr. Roberts has to deal with so many people in like who work in these types of hospitals or wards or whatever, clinics, who just cannot be helpful to him. And it's so funny because then he calls the other one. And I love this is the funniest scene of both episodes. He's like, so we have a patient named Rachel, blah, blah, who like came to your place. And the guy's like, oh, okay. And he's like, can you look her up, please? And he's like, yeah. Now? Yeah. And the guy's like, I'm the only guy here. I am at the desk right now. And he's like, he's immediately, Dr. Roberts is like, what's your name? Who's your boss? Like, come on. Do your job.
The guy's like, ugh, I don't want to get up, dude. Come on.
I don't get paid. I hate
Fine.
this. He's like, it's going to take a while. And Robert's like, I have a while. Like, go do it, you fuck. And then he goes and does it and comes back. And he's like, yeah, we don't have her. We don't know you're talking. Are you sure it was our hospital? Bureaucracy comes for Dr. Roberts yet again. And the info he does get is when he sneaks into Hap's lab and hears the Pierre Ruskin tapes, which narrate the episode.
Yeah, I think what this Dr. Roberts plot, I actually really liked the part of it that was him being like, wait, what happened to Rachel? This isn't adding up. I need to follow this trail and figure out. I'm starting to suspect that Dr. Percy isn't everything he says he is. He's been asking me to do stuff I'm not comfortable with. Like, that's all cool. But then I found it a little, there's a little bit of a disconnect, him listening to the Ruskin tapes, because he as an individual has no reason to want to listen to those tapes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's ever mentioned or thought about Pierre Ruskin. He doesn't know anything about the house. My sense is he would be like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm going to find a tape where like Dr. Percy's talking to Rachel and spilling the beans. That's what I want to know. So it feels like he's only listening to it as a means of that having this diegetic justification to then exist non-diegetically over the Kareem OA plot.
Yeah.
which made me like even more annoyed that it was just a nothing burger of a thing. It's this like little fable about the medium and the engineer, which and like the character of Pierre Ruskin, if he's supposed to be this like Silicon Valley investor dude, him being so like Hansel and Gretel about the origins of the house didn't work for me. I don't know. I'm sounding like a hater, but the Pierre Ruskin bit really was like the part of the episode that it's like this is taking me out of this completely.
Yeah. No. Same. I don't think you're being a hater. I think the truth is we've seen plots like this in so many shows that it almost feels amateurish the way that they are in the show, being like, okay, well, now it's time for us to explore the like sacred origins of the house. There was a man and there was a woman, and she suspected something was up in the house that they bought together. She felt like there were spirits, and you're like, bro, it's a ghost house. Like, you're not telling me anything. It was a former holy site of the Ohone shaman. We built the house into a puzzle to protect the house. Why? Still don't know. We got a whole episode and we still didn't figure that out. It ends up being background noise. Like Dr. Roberts' entire plot, like you said, exists to give us background noise of Vincent Kartheiser narrating the A plot. It's like, it's a bonkers production decision that like does all this work in B Dimension just so that we can also hear B Dimension, Nina and Kareem bumble through Fantasyland.
Yeah.
And then Kareem, by the way, last thing on the A plot, is like calling for Michelle, ends up in Zombieland, gets like tackled by a bunch of zombies, finds Zendaya trapped in the house, but she's really old.
The real Zendaya jump scare is this one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he takes her out of the house. Like, I got to get out. We're done with this. Takes her out. She's no longer old. And he's like, oh, something's up. I don't know. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it for that. That's 2/3 of the episode, listener. Nothing.
Yeah.
But
something I thought was cool about that. I really like this idea. I mean, it's a totally different thing than what the movements were kind of saying, which is like you can do these movements and open this pathway or like find the river or whatever. Now this episode and the next one are making this point of like, and there are some places where the dimensions kind of kiss a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. And that feels very cinematic to me. I like the possibilities that opens up. And I like the way that Kareem finds his way out, where he does the puzzles, he goes through these like creepy vistas that don't seem like they should fit inside the house.
Yeah.
But then when he finds Fola, he realizes like, oh, I'm on the other side of that hole that I saw in the wall when I was here the first time. Yes. So I can actually bust through this mirror and leave. And I think that's cool that he went to this place that was like interdimensional, defying the laws of space and time, but it is still inside the place as we understand it.
Yes.
That is pretty cool to me.
I do give them credit. That felt really great. In almost like a video gamey way too, of when you like play Resident Evil or something and you open a door and you go, wait, this loops back to this is all one cohesive place.
Yeah, it felt very FromSoft, like Dark Souls.
Yes.
Like, oh crap.
I was trying to think what game that makes me think of. Yes.
And all by the way, the visuals of like the tree spirit, I was like, oh, cool. The OA is live streaming Elden Ring. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, she fell like into an Elden Ring hole.
So Elden Ring. I hope Britt Marling and Zalbat Monglish have played Elden Ring, and that plays into the inevitable season 3, or that very evitable season 3, but
entirely evitable.
I would like it to happen.
Yeah, that's actually the thing I'm most excited for. Is like, what awesome pillars of pop culture in the last half decade did Britt and Zal play or watch that they're like, I want to do that. Because again, as we've said, this season was a lot of its work to Twin Peaks: The Return and Twin Peaks in general. Yep. So yeah, what's the next thing? I love a creative team that is very original and also highly derivative at the same time. They can be both.
Yeah, when you're boldly derivative of original people,
Right.
it's that's how you do it.
And so, we're poo-pooing a little bit, but I think the C plot here does come together quite well in the like
Mhm.
OA way of going, oh my God, what are we watching now? This is something,
Yeah, I
but
like
in
the C plot in this. Yeah.
but in a way that feels expected. Like it happens,
Mhm.
and you're like, you know what? I actually am not surprised by any of this. All makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Because this is us following Hap and Elodie, who spend most of this episode naked, which is
Mhm.
funny. They're chatting nakedly about his love for someone else. I think he's talking about the OA here.
Yes,
He's
yeah, it's really weird.
Struggy. Yeah, that's something that was implied in season 1 that they're making more explicit. Um,
Mhm.
she says, "I cannot." This line is so clunky, but kind of good. I cannot sleep next to someone who cannot sleep. Can we get one more pass on
Mhm.
that line, guys? Please,
Mhm.
please. And Robert's OA Ruskin stuff, whispering into a tree, no tree survives alone. And then we like don't see this plot line for a while. And then he is like, okay, something's up with Elodie, and he sneaks a syringe back into the bedroom, thinking he's going to like drug her, right?
Yeah, that seems and she like predicts that that is going to be his move
Yeah,
because she calls the police and is like, "Hey, this woman had an allergic reaction and she's unconscious." And you're like,
yeah.
"Whoa, she knows that Hap's
He's gonna
going to
do
try
it.
something here." And
And
yeah, he
then,
says she says once more before I go, and he says, I can't let you go." And then they go to town one more time.
yeah, she mounts him, and she says the feeling of being near orgasm is the fuel that he needs to
Uh-huh.
hold on to. And he says, hold on to for what? And she says, nothing, and then puts her clothes on. He goes, you're getting dressed. And I love this moment because this is the first time, listener, that Hap is the one who's confused. He's getting happed. He's fully getting happed. It's the just
Mhm.
desserts we've wanted for this character, where someone else is like, dog, I was 6 steps ahead of you an hour ago. You've been
Yeah.
left in the dust. And she gets up, and he's like, what is this? What's going on? And listen, she puts down 5 cubes.
Oh my
She puts on
god, the
5
cubes.
distinct little cubes that all
The
proceed to
fucking
stand up on their
cube.
vertices and then open up to reveal these little tiny robots with little arms that can do little versions of the movements.
My
And
god.
the 5 of them surround Elodie and do the movements, and she collapses, presumably having died and transferred to the other dimension. And Hap's like, wait, no! As the police sirens come, and he's fucking cooked once again. Another
Mhm.
season. Oi.
What do you think of the little robots, huh?
Sick. 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 Because like
Yeah.
everything about the evil people in the show is them going, this is a thing that requires human connection and a human touch, and they're like, what if it wasn't human, or what if it can harness it, and to like create
Mm,
little nano robots that can do it feels very in line with like what all of the villains in the show, like Hap is probably going like, fuck, I should have
mm.
thought of that. I could have just made robots. Why didn't I make robots? But I like that
Mhm.
they're not just like, traditional like MIT or like Boston Dynamics robots. Like they look like something out of like Elden Ring's dwarf area, where you're like, why do they have robots in the dwarf area or like in
Mhm.
Skyrim or something? Why do they
Mhm.
have those? They shouldn't have those. They feel out of time in a way that I really, really loved.
Yeah.
I don't need this explained. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty wild when they started going like, and you're like, fuck, those little
Oh,
robots are doing the movements. It really speaks to the movements are so good. Like they really came up with some good movements.
they're so evocative that like little CG robots could do it, and you can tell what it is without words.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
And that's where our episode ends. Hap is cooked, just like last season, right? Right before the
Mhm.
finale, something happens and the police are coming for Hap. It feels very parallel, probably
Mhm.
intentionally. I don't know,
Mhm.
but if
Mhm.
I know how things worked last time, then Hap will find some way to weasel his way out of this.
Yep.
I don't expect this to be the end of our boy. Any stray notes on the medium and the engineer before we move on to our main event?
Um, let's see. For some reason, Britt Marling says Kareem like cream. She keeps going cream,
Cream. It's like
cream.
Katoon.
Yeah.
It's giving katoon. Cream of wheat.
Cream. I think when the tree thing says that she has to form a tribe, I think she has to form a tribe of herselves from the dimensions. Go around like kind of collecting psyches of her own self.
What makes you think that? I saw that in your notes and I wasn't sure where that was coming from.
Just because it's like Nina Azarova, like you need to work with her and her powers. It's like, okay, is there something about like each dimension, the magic or whatever works differently, and she's sort of like the key to it working different ways.
Okay. I buy it.
That's my guess. When Hap and Elodie go to have sex again, the music in the background, the lyric that plays just goes, "Her placenta falls," and I don't know the song or the context, but that's kind of funny.
The song is "Lightning Crashes" by the band Live, which is unfortunate because try Googling live band and see how that goes for you. I couldn't. It took me so long to find. Shazam got me there, but then I was like, oh, let me look them up. Live band. Oh. I can't do that.
When Kareem finds Fola, she says, "Where have you been?" So
yeah,
it would seem to indicate that she found her way this far and then has been there for a long time. There's something different about how time works in there or something. And then when they get out, she's dead, it seems like. And that sucks.
Not old, but dead. Yeah.
Yes, not old, but dead.
R.I.P. Fola, presumably.
Yeah. But that's that for episode 5 of the OA Part 2.
Brilliant. I don't have any stray notes myself. This was a fairly straightforward episode. We did say it, but seriously, crank your brightness to watch this one. All of the Kareem and OA scenes are the most modern TV dark
Might as well
bullshit.
Be a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, you wrote that in your notes. I like that. Bonkers. Unbelievably hard to see. So when we come back from the break, we'll be talking about a much more interesting episode, in my opinion. After this musical break, we'll be discussing Mirror, Mirror. Back in a bit.
Hello and welcome back to Chatz OA, the show where two of us talk about the Alfie.
There it is.
Alfie. I want someone to backwards talk on the OA so bad.
Please,
that would be awesome.
Please. You know what they have to do?
He was somebody, even.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody like talks to their other dimension self, but they can't talk to each other normally. They have to hear each other backwards, but only they understand it.
Yeah, that would be sick. Anyway, this is Chatz Away, where we watch 2 episodes of the Netflix original series, the OA, every week, and we talk about them. So we watched for the second episode this time around part 2 of the OA, episode 6, which is called Mirror, Mirror. Hubba. It's written. Was there even a mirror in this episode?
Mirror dimension, mirror universe.
Mirror dimension, mirror universe.
A and B dimension.
Mirror. Yeah, but I think aren't we only in the A dimension this episode?
Yeah, maybe it's to imply that this is a sequel to the last one, to Magic Mirror.
Oh, okay.
So it's to attach this episode to that episode.
That makes sense. That makes sense. A mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Okay, and the TV's a mirror on the wall because BBA is on the TVA.
Black Mirror. Okay. The phones are Black Mirror.
Yeah. This episode was written by Dominic Orlando and Claire, I want to say Kiechel or Kiechel, Kiechel. Directed by Andrew Haig. It aired on March 22nd, 2019. Alan, what happened in this episode of the OA?
In this episode, like Fievel, BBA and the kids head west, and an alarming news report forces them to speed up their plans. Jesse wrestles with lingering trauma from the shooting. Magellan, what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as Magic Mirror. I think Magic Mirror had such a purity to it, and such a like, we're on the road, we're believing in stuff, like hopeful. This episode, I understand that they are wanting things to feel tense or for there to be consequences. We're getting to the end of the season, but like bad stuff happens to our sweet children in this episode, and
Yeah.
that is sad and it's really stressful. Um and I don't know, like I kind of like that brief moment where Dimension A had this kind of wistful quality of like, how do we live in a world where the OA was here and now she's not?
Mm-hmm.
But then this episode is kind of like, and the cops are after you, and there's drugs, and it's scary. What are you gonna do about it? I don't know. Some mixed feelings. What about you? What do you think of Mirror Mirror?
I really liked it. I teared up at
Hmm.
one scene. It shouldn't be surprising, but scenes about people struggling with their mental health and then that not going well for them tend to affect me really strongly for
Uh-huh.
reasons. Um,
Uh-huh.
I'm curious because you said that it sounds like it's bringing in a lot of heightened drama that you felt like the show almost didn't need. Is that accurate to me assessing your take that like all this stuff with the cops and the urgency is like the show didn't need that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the whole thing of like BBA. It's like there's an Amber Alert. People think that BBA kidnapped the kids. It all makes sense. That is sort of a logical consequence of what happened in the previous episode uh that we were in this dimension.
Uh-huh.
But it's almost like the only reason that's here is because it's a logical consequence of that, as opposed
Yeah.
to it being something that serves the story. Like I think it only really serves to make the characters feel rushed and feel like
Uh-huh.
they need to do something soon. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard to separate, like, was I just feeling anxious today and I didn't want to watch a stressful TV show? Or do
Sure.
I have like qualms about it from a storytelling perspective? And I actually don't know if I can disentangle those two things.
Fair.
But yeah, that was my thought about it.
I think the tension works for me just because it's all based in like highlighting what's different about this dimension. Because on one hand, both of us wrote in our notes that like Dimension A is the kindness of strangers dimension, right?
Right.
They are able to get picked up by a woman in a truck at the top of the episode. They're able to like go to the diner. BBA's cousin hosts them. She gives them tent. She lets them have their little summer vacation. Like these are all moments of other humans outside of their story, and then of course, FBI agent Raheem coming back and being like, "I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
help you guys." Oh my god! By the way, amazing. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Um, it feels like, oh, this is the kindness of strangers dimension, but it's also the dimension where we just can't get out from under it. And
Yep.
that is why I love these episodes. Is it's very relatable to be like, I just thought we were about to have fun. We just were on the beach having fun,
Mm-hmm.
and we're already on the
Mm-hmm.
run again. We cannot escape our fate, and I find that
Yeah.
tragedy really motivating, especially for characters like BBA who feel this sort of parental almost responsibility for the kids, and is like,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I can do to help you guys at this point is to jump. Like it has to become inevitable for her to
Mm-hmm.
jump because they have all these stakes so that they can be like, well, if you stay, then
Yeah.
you go to jail, and if you stay, we go to jail. So you might as well go, and then you might be able to help us go, and that can get figured out. We might as well try.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. In a way, she's like probably the least likely character to jump dimensions.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of movement that has to happen to make it like her only option.
Yeah.
And I liked what you were saying that when we're following this crew, it's like, yeah, the world is filled with kindness, filled with people doing their best, and that might not be enough if the world is also fundamentally cruel or at best dispassionate.
Yeah.
Like these kind of scattershot, unpredictable moments of like, hey, I can help you out with just this little thing. Like that's not gonna do it. That's not gonna be our deliverance, so to speak. Um,
But it lets us get a little
so there's
further.
something to that,
It
right?
it lets them get a little bit further, just a little. There, people are walking them one step forward at a time towards their finish line, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we start with the episode with them being stranded. The car doesn't work. What the fuck are we gonna do? We get picked up. There's no weirdness about them getting picked up. It's just, yep, that's a nice woman who takes them to a place and they can get the car fixed.
Mhm.
There is an interesting plot being set up here that I'm curious if it pays off. I mean, it kind of pays off in this episode, but Angie talks to Steve about jumping.
Mhm.
And he's like, maybe I could just sneak in there too. And she's like, dog, we literally just listened to Rachel say that it has to be BBA. You don't get to leave. Because
Mhm.
Steve, his whole motivation on this show has been like, this world has nothing for me. I want to leave. Even though, as we see in this
Mhm.
episode, he's building like community and friendship and love. And it's like,
Yeah.
it must be really, really hard for Angie to hear that. And she literally has to bluntly hit him with the, I'm sorry, you're not the chosen one.
Yeah.
Like, it's never been you, and you wanting it this badly is going to put everything at risk at some point. And it does in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
I loved that B plot. I thought that was really, really well done.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool direction for Steve's character where um he's grown so much. He's not in that season 1 position where he has these like outbursts of physical violence towards people like the way that we saw him with the OA a couple times. Um but he still has that sort of like he can't help but thrash against his circumstances um and feel like my options are limited. um and yeah, I think it's really fascinating to watch this character be kind of like the leader of the group
Yeah.
in key moments. Definitely the, I think, spiritual leader of the group.
Yes.
um and in some ways like one of the most empathetic, the way that he supports Jesse in the episode. Like that moment where he goes to Jesse on the bus and is like, you should sleep. Hits his shoulder, like, put your little head on my shoulder, buddy.
Jesse sleeps on his
So
shoulder.
sweet, sweetie little Steve. Come on. And to
Yeah.
pair that with him being like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I hate it here. I'm building such a beautiful life and it sucks. And I gotta leave. Yeah, it's super fascinating dynamic.
It brings to mind to me that, like, it's like, what is the crossing dimension supposed to symbolize? You know,
Yeah.
for some people, is it a form of death? Is it like
Mhm.
what they're craving is the release of leaving? It's not just like the
Mhm.
promise that there might be something better on the other side, because as we've seen, there often isn't. It's just a different kind of bad. It's just like, I can't keep doing this, you know?
Yeah.
There's a really potent scene in The Pit season 2 that I'm not going to get into specifics on because the show's currently airing. The finale airs as we're talking right now.
Mhm.
Where a character says, I don't think I can be here anymore. And you're in the confines of a hospital. And one other character goes like, well, you know, maybe you could take a break or you don't have to work here anymore. And he's like, no, I don't think I can like be alive anymore. And that scene is
Mhm.
like it made me burst into tears again for the aforementioned reasons.
Mhm.
So that was what all the Steve stuff felt like. He's like, why do you want to leave so badly? You want to
Yeah.
leave? Like, you want to be gone? And what's so crucial about it, as you said, is its relation to Jesse's storyline. Steve is someone who explicitly says, and that's why we empathize with him. He says, I want to leave. I want to get out of here. Jesse feels that, but doesn't say it, and instead chooses to leave and get out of here in a different way.
Yeah.
Breaking our hearts, you know?
Yeah, that's a really interesting analytical question that you're posing of like, what does crossing dimensions represent? Because especially in the A dimension, it is so closely tied to death,
Yes.
um, that you can't help but feel like Steve is basically saying to the people around him that he wants to die,
Yes.
and uh, for BBA to be like, well, maybe the reason that I'm the one who has to go is because I am about to have a heart attack or something, and like you all
Yeah.
are too young to die.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, we're in that headspace in this episode of thinking about this in terms of death and suicide, and I think that really illuminates like why Steve is feeling so conflicted, why Angie has such a hard time with the way that he's talking about
Mm-hmm.
this thing that he wants to do, how we can see Steve inarguably building like a better life than he had before, and yet he still is discontent.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on there.
A ton. That's what this episode ends up being about, and that's why I like it so much. It's all character focused, all just
Mm-hmm.
character juice. Speaking of juice, we find ourselves at the diner. Nobody knows what to order. I would be so annoyed if I was this diner employer. I'm like, does anybody want to
Mm-hmm.
order? And they're like, and she's like, can anybody say anything? And they're like, can we think about it? And she's like, yeah, yes, you called me over. And BBA's
Yeah.
like, I'll order. And they're like, no, don't order yet. There's something else going on, which is that there is now an Amber Alert for our O Angels here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I am BBA in this moment where she's like, did you guys not? None of you called your parents? I get why. Are you fucking kidding me? You just made me into a criminal? And we crossed state lines? And no wonder she has a panic attack here. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, you suddenly went from like we're on a fun, wholesome vacation with my friends to like I'm a federal criminal. I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see my
Yeah.
cousin.
Yeah, and Jesse puts a finer point on this later in the episode where he has this exchange with, I think, with BBA, where he's like, yeah, basically we kidnapped you, like
Yeah,
is
so
what
the
actually
opposite.
happened. um and I think that's pretty funny that you have this character BBA who's like uh coming into herself and more bold and confident, but is certainly not in the driver's seat of the plot by any means. And then
Exactly.
the world is like, you are a cult leader and a kidnapper, and we're coming for you. It's a
I'm
pretty,
literally just a girl.
pretty funny. Yeah.
We pop outside. We all destroy our phones. The sound of a car running over something scares Jesse, and he has a flashback to the school shooting.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote in my notes here, and I knew I was predicting something happening. I wrote, "Guys, he's not okay. Somebody, please help Jesse. Please."
Mhm.
You can tell they see there's like 3 or 4 scenes in this episode that are like, if you're paying attention, then you like the rest of the characters here would go, we should probably help Jesse at some point. We'll get there. We'll do
Mhm.
it later, and they never do. Sad. Because we arrive at BBA's cousin's home by the beach, and it's the first time most of these kids are seeing the ocean, and in
Mhm.
easily the most beautiful, well lit scene of these episodes. So sweet and fun. Buck and Jesse stay behind as Steve and French and oh my god, Angie hop into the ocean. They take their clothes off and they fucking go for a little swimmy swim and play around,
Mhm.
and it's so sweet. And you really realize how important it is for people to get to like see the ocean when they have it their whole life. Like that's
Mhm.
and it's the symbolic moment too of freedom for them. Like the cousin says to BBA when they go inside and they have some fucking maker's mark. She's like, they're good kids. They're
Mhm.
really sweet. These are nice kids. Also, I need to call the cops on you soon.
Mhm.
How did you feel about the cousin in this episode? Did you like agree with her actions?
Um, yeah, I like the cousin. She's so, it really makes sense that she's BBA's cousin because she's so put upon and so hesitant to make a decision. And when BBA is like, yeah, we just everything will get sorted out soon. The cousin's like, what does that mean? I need you to speak directly to me. Like, what are you about to do? What are you planning? And even the moment where she calls the cops when she finds Jesse dead, it's almost like she's holding up a finger like, sorry guys, 1 second, I gotta call the police real quick.
Yeah, I actually
It's
have to. I've now you've put me in a position where I have to.
yeah.
It's the funniest version of what you're talking about. Yeah, is when she's like, "Okay, hey Betty, what's the plan with the kids?" And she's like, BBA's like, "The kids are so wonderful, and they're just really smart and thoughtful, and they need a good life." Completely blows past the question,
Mhm,
and the cousin can't even be like, "No, seriously, like, why
mhm.
why do you have them here? You know they're wanted, right?"
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like still we're in this world where everybody is nothing but kind, and the way that she talks to BBA and basically says like, "Hey, you went through something awful and traumatic, and you like
Hmm.
went in there to protect these kids, and I think now you're confused and
Yeah.
you think your role is still to protect them, but you're not doing that."
Mm.
uh yeah, I think it's a really warm way to say that, and for me as a viewer, like, kind of put a little bit of doubt in my mind of, are these characters making good choices right now?
Yep.
I don't think they're making, like, great choices, but I can see Dimension B, so I know that there's, like, actually shit going on that they're gonna get to. But for a moment, I was kinda like, "Okay, wait a minute. Let's live in Dimension A for a second
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
about how these characters don't know what's going on in Dimension B. They're taking it on blind faith, and they've been through an incredibly dramatic event. Jesse's experiencing episodes of PTSD right in front of us on screen. Like,
Hmm.
they're not well. They
Oh,
need help beyond this little team that they've created. Um,
exactly.
yeah. So I think the cousin was like kind of funny and worked for me.
Yeah, she's the one reminding them like, please ground yourselves in this reality. Like, I'm begging you. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to mean going to jail for the rest of your life, but like, we have to involve the authorities.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect example of when to involve the authorities. It's very
Hmm.
sad though. We remember why BBI originally came here, which is to visit Uncle Carl, who is on his dying breaths. She
Yep.
thanks him for letting her and Theo visit. She describes him as Uncle Beach Ball because of his beer gut. We have a very sweet cousin
Hmm.
moment with her and her cousin sharing a bottle of Maker's Mark as Jesse and Buck are refusing to get in the water. And
Hmm.
incredible performance from BB-8 here. Before I met OA, I had resigned myself to missing certain emotional things. Things like Theo's funeral and lots of things. I thought that
Hmm.
life was too much for me, but I was wrong. Really underlining the point that everybody who we identify here as the O Angels are like walking through life with like a holding a grief that they can't put words to, whether it's a dead parent, a dead sibling.
Hmm.
They're just holding and living past grief. It reminded me a lot of uh like Hamnet, you know?
Hmm.
On
Hmm.
some like how do you
Hmm.
live past the people who matter the most to you type shit, or Train Dreams
Yeah.
even more so. I know we just had our
Hmm.
Oscar chat a couple months ago, or about a month
Yeah.
ago. um I thought this was so beautiful. This and the Jesse speech are like the two most beautiful speeches of the season, and they're in the same
Yeah.
freaking episode.
Yeah. I think I would have loved this episode even more if I hadn't been annoyed by the previous episode and
Yes.
wanting, like, can I please just get some Dimension B stuff that it feels better than what I just got? Because it still has this episode still has all those qualities from Magic Mirror, um, where it's like we're watching these characters continue in a story that we we wouldn't have expected to tune back into. Like,
Yeah.
they already kind of had their movie and now it's done, but we're lingering with them. And like those movies you described, like Hamnet and like Train Dreams, which are very much about, okay, we're gonna look at characters who are on the periphery of a story you might know,
Uh-huh.
or who are going to continue living past the worst thing that ever happens to them,
Yeah.
and they have to keep existing. Life doesn't work like a movie where it's just like close it up, we're done.
Uh-huh.
uh it's not a clean narrative arc, and yeah, I like that this episode continues to explore that.
All the Dimension A stuff feels like that. Just like
Yeah.
living in the remains of OA's departure. What do we do with that? How do we struggle with that? Uh
Hmm.
how do we find connection in that? BB-8 and her cousin catch Jesse privately describing to Uncle Carl what he thinks heaven is like. So you're gonna go there and like my mom is there and um family and love and food and comfort and everything you want is going to be there. And they let him do it. Both of them stop and go, oh, and they don't say a word. And they just let
Hmm.
that actor, they let Brendan Meyer just act his damn ass off.
My
I
God,
was
what a
like,
scene.
the whole like Uncle Carl thing felt. I was like, why is this even in the storyline? And it's like, yeah, it just gives these characters a person to like engage with their grief, right? A
Yep.
person who's like teetering on the edge of quote unquote crossing over, and like, hey, you're about to enter a different part of your life, a sort of second life, if you will. And part of me wants to be there with you, and part of me wants to like whisk you off and wish you well on your way there. It's really
Hmm.
beautiful, really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the emotional work that they give Brendan Meyer in this episode is like some of the show's best, seriously. Because I've said since season one, I
Hmm.
love Jesse and I wish we could see more of Jesse and his sister. And, in these next scenes, like, Angie is like, oh, after what happens to Jesse, she's like, oh, not like, of course it happened to him. Like, none of us like even paid attention. And it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
he was written to be the side character that nobody thinks about and asks, how are you doing? And he
Yeah.
just quietly struggled with a like mental health crisis and an addiction that formed itself really fast in his young mind,
Yeah.
because he stares out at the sunset on the beach. At this point you got to know what's going to happen. This is like some, it's very much like narratively being set up. Everybody else has set up their tents, and then in her dream, BBA reads a map. I don't know if you caught this. The name of the map is While You're Waiting. I don't know what's going
Mm.
on there, but it says While You're Waiting,
Mm.
but it says one word.
Interesting.
A bald man that she thinks is Theo says he needs your help. I need your help. She's like, are you Theo? And then she turns and looks at a bed and sees Jesse without his shirt on and a fentanyl patch on his stomach. She runs out, and Jesse has overdosed from fentanyl and died in his tent. And speaking of living after grief, then I wish the episode would end here. And you have to sit in 15 agonizingly sad minutes of
Yeah.
people going, I don't know what to do. I don't know, what do I do? And they don't have the adult to tell them, because she also doesn't know what the fuck to do, because she never
Yeah.
processed the death of her brother. So she doesn't know what you do when you see a body.
Hmm.
Other than like, I guess we do the movements, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do. They spend the whole night doing these. Steve is like, that's what the OA and Helmer did for, did for Scott. It worked that time. And it's Buck who has to be like, guys, it isn't working.
Yeah.
We need to leave or we're going to get arrested. And they leave Jesse's body there on the beach, steal a car, and flee from the police. It's heartbreaking. Steve, there's a lot of two really subtle moments from Steve's actor here in this episode. One is when he's in the car angry at himself. He occasionally hits his head really hard against the glass
Yeah.
in a moment of like, I want to be so mad, but I know I shouldn't be right now, and it's not helpful, but I'm so mad. And he's used to self-harming or harming things to get his anger
Yeah.
out. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out, he gets out of the car and runs away. He dips.
Yeah.
This is all just, yeah, so sad. Steve's doing the movements again by the beach over and over again, aiming at Jesse. Please, can I make something happen? Inevitably gonna get caught or hurt, or something's gonna happen to
Hmm.
him. And the rest of the group peels off and laments the fact that they left Steve or they left Jesse. And there's this moment where they go into the motel, right? Yet another OA hotel motel scene. And French calls the
Hmm.
FBI. He pulls out the FBI call line, and you're like, and I have this moment where I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Is French going to rat out the
French.
team?
No. Yeah.
Don't be a narc, French.
Yeah.
BBA has another incredible heartbreaking scene. I think something's wrong with me. I think I'm confused. I'm going to say a prayer and turn myself into the police. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? We're like, oh my God, it's the FBI. And it is the FBI. But it's mother fucking Raheem, because he called the right person and French did the goddamn right thing. And I'm so happy because Riz Ahmed is back. And not only is he back, but he comes into the scene with a like emotional and spiritual clarity of somebody who has seen God. He's like, everything's going to be fine. I was brought here to help. We're going to, I was asked to help by the OA. You never asked me. What is a home? Describe. I was not the OA's home.
This is wild.
And what is a house? Is it a space? Ah, yes, a space. Spaces control. It's just some bullshit. Houses,
it's like
dimensions.
only Riz Ahmed could land that moment where
100%.
he's like, yeah, hey, I want to tell you all the secrets, but I'm going to do it in like a Socratic way that's really corny, but kind of awesome. Because it really, it's like he really needs them to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And he's like just a little bit impatient about it, but also is not questioning the need to make them figure it out. There's so many layers to what he's doing in that moment where he's like, well, okay, yeah, what is a home? It's really an amazing performance.
Let's talk. A home is a space. And you're like, wait, is this attaching itself to Dimension B? What's going on here? We're talking about a house again? But most importantly, the dimensions are connected through spaces. BBA, he's not crazy. She does feel like something's off because something is off. And he says, you're finding new rooms inside of your mind. Spaces inside of your mind. Spaces in real world. And I'm going to help you guys figure it out. And that was when, you wrote your notes like, this feels like the start of the OA. Like,
right. He's like looking straight into camera, being like, now we can really do the shit.
If they put the title card here, I would turn the show off and I'd say we're not watching the last two episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are we going, Magellan? We're finishing the OA next time. Ain't that nuts?
That's wrong. That just can't be correct. There's so much to unravel.
So much. So much. Any stray notes in this one?
Just to talk about the Steve bit a little bit. I love the ambiguity of his choice to run back, because when Jesse dies and everybody's sort of trading places, like, should I be trying to resuscitate him? Should I be doing the movements? Should I be planning a way to get out of here? There isn't a clear right answer. And it sort of feels like really the right answer is everybody doing the same thing. If we could just get everybody to make the same choice at the same time and commit to it, maybe that solidarity would like do something.
Yeah. Easy.
And we don't have that. We have a crisis of faith in this moment. Because this isn't like the crew in Hap's basement. This isn't like the OA and Homer, where their faith and their faith in each other was like unshakable by that point when they resurrect Scott. This crew's faith is not unshakable. And you then have what I think is so interesting. You have French and Steve, who essentially make like opposite choices for the same reason, right?
Yeah.
Where Steve is like, no, I gave up on my belief in this thing. I can't live with that. It doesn't matter to me if this is going to work or not. I need to go back and do the movements until they carry his body away. Yeah. And that's what he does. And it's this really, really powerful performance. And again, the movements are so good. They're so cool and like so expressive of grief and anger, and it's all in the performance there. and you can respect what Steve needs to do and also see that, like, okay, but you're also leaving everybody else in the lurch. You're subtracting the fifth person that they need. You're breaking off from the group. You're going and shaving your head for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
was this the right choice? I don't know. Was this the choice, like the true faithful choice, or not? Um, is there something kind of idolatrous about the movements in this moment in a way? Like, are you missing the point by going off and doing it by yourself? I don't know. I think those are interesting
Yeah.
questions. And then you have French, who's like, very kind of logic forward, and really French is the one who stops any effort to do the movements in a way that could revive Jesse. So it's like, I don't know, that could have worked, but you are the one who gets Raheem in the picture and who like
Yeah.
gets us moving in the direction of Treasure Island. So like maybe that was the right choice, and maybe French is kind of
Yes.
like of true faith here. It's really ambiguous, and I leave this episode like not confident in any of those choices, which I think is like a really cool from a storytelling perspective.
I agree. Even that was very very well said. Like those two characters kind of have opposite arcs. I just spent the
Mhm.
last like 4 or 5 days of the week, my last weekend, like going to church and thinking a lot about Easter and this like
Mm.
story of resurrection
Mhm.
and betrayal and like it, very away coded if you ask me. The Bible is kind of like the OA. That's sacrilegious.
Mhm.
I obviously mean it the other way around. Um, and so I think Steve is becoming a non-believer and French is becoming a believer. French exists in the material
Yeah.
reality of this world and like went from I saw these books and I don't believe it to like, oh, maybe believing in it is the whole battle. And it's like that's what the show is about. You have to
Mm.
believe in it for it to work. That sentence is what this
Uh-huh.
plot line should be about. And you're right. Like I think that what Steve is doing here in shaving his head, in breaking off from the group, is like I want the results of my faith without the hard part, which is like
Mm.
sticking with danger and like my friends and this risk. Even though at the end of season 1, the OA's big speech to him, her big point to him was like, you get by with help from your friends. Like he asks her, how did you
Mhm.
do this? How did you survive imprisonment in season 1? He asks her that before he like stabs her or whatever, and she's like, you do it with help.
Mm.
So it
Mhm.
feels like Steve in a way has strayed really far from that and is like becoming almost individualistic. And then yeah, French is like the person who nobody thought wanted to be a part of the group, but is actually like truly reuniting this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Steve, he has a bit of a savior complex. Like, he wants to believe that he can do it, like he can bring Jesse
Yeah.
back. And also I do give him some credit, as a character who in the past would have really like mocked things, blown them off, not believed in stuff.
Yeah.
He he kind of has the strength of his convictions to be like, fuck it. Like, maybe I get arrested. I don't know. I don't care. I need to watch them take Jesse's body away.
Yeah.
I cannot leave until I know for certain that there is nothing else I can do.
Yes.
And there is something, I think, powerful and self-sacrificing about that, even if it is kind of delusional, or just like, I don't even know if delusional is the word, but just like not the most strategic choice.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it just raises some good questions about, like, you know, how how much do we need to kind of follow logic versus follow, like, we do the things we believe because we believe them and that's what gives them power. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't know either. And I think that's like if we get one more Dimension A episode, I think episode 8 will probably like give us that conclusion. I hope that
Hmm.
they can bring that to some sort of some emotional catharsis.
Hmm.
I have one stray note that I think is really important despite being really small, if you'll
Okay.
indulge me.
Yeah, what is it?
So after the whole scene where BBA is talking to her cousin and says, you know, I didn't let myself feel things, we get this really brief but very potent shot of Angie comforting Steve by the beach,
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, essentially saying like, I called you not the savior earlier, and
Yeah.
he forgives her, and he bites her shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I that's like a very couples, like an early young couples thing to
Mm-hmm.
do, is to like bite, to love, you know, it's a psychological thing of like wanting to bite your partner is a sign that you love them. And I was like, I've never seen a piece of media do that, and it happens to me with Kelly all the
Mm-hmm.
time. It's like a constant thing, and I was like, I felt so seen, and it just was like, oh my god, Steve and Angie really love each other. This is one of the best teen
Mm-hmm.
relationships I've seen on a show. These kids fucking need each other. He bites her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you've experienced that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That's 100% a thing. This this space of like when you're really sort of like unrestrained intimacy with someone, you're not worried about like, well, that was weird.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You like let yourself be earnest with them. Yeah.
yeah. Amanda likes the term, especially if you do it to like a little kitten or a baby or something, calling it cute aggression.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
just so overcome with like, I want to show affection to you. I'm gonna squeeze you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what that feeling is. Um, and that moment is so special because I think a lesser show might have had them fight again or something. Um, where Steve's like, "What the hell? You're being so da 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 da." But the point of Steve and Angie in this episode is that Steve loves her and wants to go away.
Yes.
Does not want to be here. Loves her so much and does not want to exist in this world for even a second longer. And
Yeah.
both of those things are true.
Yeah.
Um, and there's something about because it's Steve, and we've been talking about like the way that like physical violence has been wrapped up in his closeness with other people and his ability to express his emotions, and for this to be like he's biting her but in like a harmless cute way
Yeah.
feels very meaningful. It's a really really sweet moment for sure.
I need to know if Patrick Gibson is the one coming up with these scenes, or if the director is like, can you, it's the same thing as hitting his head against the window. It's like just little moments of like,
Yeah.
this guy defines feeling his feelings through physical action. And
Yeah.
the whole like science behind cute aggression, which is also what we do when we like pinch babies, for example, is that you
Hmm.
feel such an overwhelming amount of emotion that you need to feel catharsis. And so you're like, ugh! And then it just feels released, and it is like so
Hmm.
heightened. So like that's why we do it. And I think that, yeah, Steve has seen like it's not even just joy and love. It's also like, I need to go. You know, this a desire to bite his partner. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. And I cannot,
Yeah.
it's hard to describe. We'd be like, what makes the OA good? And I'm like, well, there's a scene where a guy like bites his partner's shoulder, and it made me almost cry thinking about how much I love my girlfriend. Like,
Hmm.
it's that type of shit.
Yeah.
That's my straight out. You got anything?
Um, we get a little bit from Jesse early in the episode where he's like, "Hey, I did way more research on everything in the OA story and basically couldn't find any corroboration for any of it except for Homer's NDE."
Yeah.
I think he was probably picturing this medical facility on Treasure Island in the Bay Area.
Uh-huh.
Um, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but it's sort of the reason that they know that they need to go to Treasure Island. Um, and I that was kind of interesting that Jesse's like, I was able to track down and corroborate like not this thing from the story that happened in our world, but this detail that happened in a different dimension,
Yeah.
but that place
Exists.
exists and is like the easiest to find thing from the story in our dimension.
Yeah.
That's There's something about that that I think further drives home this idea of like place. There's some power in it.
And it's like the house, the San Francisco house and Treasure
The
Island are places that kind
house.
of like exist in both dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Season 3.
Season 3. Let's see. Da, 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 da. For a second, I thought what was going to happen is Steve was going to have done all the movements and been like, damn, I didn't revive Jesse, and then go into the house and like the uncle would be walking around totally fine, but they didn't do that. And that's fine.
Wow.
I
I
thought that's what
wish.
they were going to do, but they didn't do that. That's okay. What do you think is up with Raheem? Like, what do you think? Is he another kind of extraplanar creature, like another angel, perhaps?
Yeah.
Or
Raheem is the
yeah,
brother.
yeah, right. Like the analog to Kareem in the Dimension B.
I said it last week. I think I suggested that this just felt like I was like proven right. I said that I didn't
Yeah.
think Jesse would live, and I said that I think that Raheem is the Universe A version of Kareem. Is that a little bit lazy that we made our two Middle Eastern characters be the same version of each other? Yes. Is it still kind of cool? Yes.
Mhm.
I think that there's something to that he's like, I'm here to help you. I don't know why, but I've been given
Yeah.
enough signs and symbols by the powers that be that I'm supposed to get you where you need to be.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I like that. That's
Same.
what I got.
Groovy. Well, once more into the breach, my friend. What are we watching next time on Chatz, the television podcast?
So next time, I believe we're taking a little week off between now and next time.
Yes, we are.
If I'm correct. So then the week after we'll return. So sorry to do this to everybody right before the end of the OA, but that's what we're doing. And then we'll be back to talk about the OA Part 2, Chapters 7 and 8. Chapter 7 is called Nina Azarova. And Chapter 8 is called Overview.
Oh.
Which is a hilarious title.
For your series finale. Yeah, just finally.
Series finale.
Nice little
just
overview.
Little overview.
Me scream.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you have vacation next week, so I'll either put up a feed filler or nothing. We got to enjoy our time off here and there, y'all, and we appreciate the patience as we let ourselves take these vacations. And then yeah, we're gonna right into it. And we'll finish the OA, and we'll announce from there what the next season is. We've already got it lined up. Fun stuff. Magellan. In the meantime, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on another podcast that I do with my friend Justin called Super Smash Echoes, where we play video games related to the Super Smash Brothers franchise. Super Smash Echoes, check it out. You can also find me on Bluesky at notthemagellan.bsky.social. And there's now some integration between Bluesky and Puzzmo, which is fun.
Yeah.
So if you're a Puzzmo person and on Bluesky and you want to be Puzzmo people, that would be cool.
Yes.
And then you can find some of my writing at not-magellan.ghost.io. Alan, what about you?
Oh boy. Well, you can find me on Bluesky at Ibrahim, AIBRAHIM, where I'm celebrating the 20th anniversary of Neil banging out the tunes, and also Garfield in Big Feats. That'll make sense if you look at my Bluesky, I promise. And you can hear me on a couple other podcasts on scanlinemedia.com, like The Creature Quorum, where I talk about Pokemon, my favorite hyperfixation, with my friend Six Stepmar. We had Magellan on recently to talk about about a section of the Kanto Tourist community where we're playing through Gen 1 in different ways. We also will be covering the new Pokemon games when they come out. And we do, it's our Pokemon pod. We also have the Garnet Wager, which is a Korean game show narrative watch podcast. And that is about it for me. I'll take it to the plug zone since it's my turn.
Please do.
If you have questions, comments, or concerns for Chatz, our email address is chatzpod@gmail.com. That's chatzpod@gmail.com. The podcast Bluesky is at chatzpod. Give that a follow. And if you like video versions of your podcast, we do put out a video version every Tuesday, 2 days after the main audio release. It's a less edited but visual version on the Chatz the Television Podcast YouTube, where you can see our beautiful faces.
A little fun thing, I put a nice quilt over my ominous kitten cage over here, so it's a little nicer to look at. Arranged my shelves a bit. So
Yeah, really highly. You're really putting a point on Things and Rings, my least favorite board game. I'm just
wow.
bad at it. No, it's a beautifully made game. I'm just so bad at it. It makes
No,
me
it's
angry.
okay. It's okay. You're allowed to hate.
I just a little bit, just a little bit.
Little bit.
Little bit. In the meantime, rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's the main place that people find us. Consider supporting us financially. Patreon.com/chatzpod is where you can do that. $1, $3, and $5 a month gets you a tag on our Patreon Discord, on our Discord, the Chatz Discord, where we watch TV shows and talk about them and games and other things. And you can get a little title on there. $3 gets you our huge years of backlog of Patreon exclusive episodes like hangout shows, tier lists, trivia, random nonsense, covering every BNL or Metric album, and way more on the Chatz Patreon. And $5, and also you get to put something into the cup, and every month we pull from that cup, and we'll do or watch what you tell us to. We gotta get that cup full. If you are a patron and you haven't filled that cup up yet, or put your New Year's cup in, please do that. Fill that cup up. $5 a month gets you all those patron bonuses and gets you thanked at the end of every main feed episode of the show. Magellan, can you do our patron thank yous for this week, please?
I would love to, because there's a bit of a title change on one of them. But I'll go backwards, as I like to do. Thank you, of course, to Stefan, Six, Noel, Nick of the Brothers at Infinite War, MP, my mom, Marcus, Lee, Kyrie, girlfriend of the podcast, Kelly, Justin, Jen, Felicia, Emrys, Emily, Arthur, and fiancé of the podcast, Amanda. Thank you, folks, for supporting the show.
Classy. Does it feel weird yet? Are you getting used to it, saying it?
It's interesting. Amanda was like, I don't know if I want to use it. Because to her, it's like, it feels pretentious, which I can see, but I don't agree with. But it's sort of like, we already refer to each other as partners.
Yeah.
Which is like a more permanent term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my head, it's like, it only makes sense to use the word fiance when it's in the context of like things that fiancés do, or like stuff that is tied to the engagement period.
Yeah.
Like like if I was like, I went to the grocery store with my fiance, it's like, to buy wedding groceries. I don't understand.
I totally get you. But when you're like, oh, me and my
Yeah.
fiance and I are planning our wedding, it's like, yeah, that's your fiance. I totally
Yeah.
get that. That's so smart.
Like if I had been calling her my girlfriend for 4 years, then I would be like, okay, time to replace that with fiance, because fiance is like an upgrade.
Yes.
But it's like partner is kind of somehow lesser and greater than fiance, so
right.
It's kind of like a Sarah, a star kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Your pronunciation is perfect, by the way.
Thanks.
Flawless. Spanish language listeners out there, gracias.
Anyway, we should do the Chatzums.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, thank you to Camilla Acme Illustrator for our podcast art. By the way, you're amazing. Last but not least, our final segment is called Chatzums, like the Vlasic snacking pickle. We recommend you something to snack on between now and next time. Magellan, what is or are your Chatzums for this week?
A couple weeks ago, I talked about Pokemon ROM hacks and playing those on my cellular telephone, which has been a joy, a delight. I finished one, and I was like, dang, I got to play another one, but I don't know which one I want to do. And then I fell in love anew.
Oh.
And I think this is like a broadly recommendable ROM hack, because the one that I just finished, which I'll chat some as well, is called Pokemon Radical Red.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's got a lot of quality of life features. You know, it's got all the Pokemon, whatever. It's a Fire Red ROM hack, but it also ramps up the difficulty. Like it's a ton of quality of life for what is essentially it's called an enhancement hack, but it also includes like difficulty increase. So if that's not really your thing, you might bounce off of it, because it doesn't really do much else to the base game, but it adds some interesting stuff. Anyway, but the one that I'm playing now, that I can give a strong recommend to, that I think I mentioned to you at some point, is called Pokemon Heart and Soul.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain this to Amanda yesterday. Um, um, so for folks who don't know the Pokemon game franchise and all the games within it, this might be hard to follow. But for those who do know, this is going to sound amazing. And if I heard about this when I was 17, I would have been like, oh my God, I got to play that right now. Pokemon Heart and Soul is a demake. It's a Gen 3 ROM hack. It's a ROM hack of Pokemon Emerald. So like Game Boy Advance style graphics version of the DS remakes of the Game Boy Color games, Gold and Silver. So it's a Gen 3ified version of the Gen 4 remakes of Gen 2.
There it is.
Which is kind of the best of both worlds to me, because I adore Heart Gold. The thing I love about Fire Red is like the aesthetics, the vibe, the music, I just love Generation 3. Feels good. And then what I love about Heart Gold is it's just like a playable version of Gold and Silver. And like the Johto storyline and being able to go through the 2 regions is so fun. I have a lot of nostalgia for the Gen 2 Pokemon also. So to be able to combine both of those things, like I get the vibes that I love the most with like the game like playthrough that I love the most in this thing that's in my phone, Pokemon Heart and Soul. Oh, beautiful. And it has tons of quality of life features and like customization when you set up the game, how you want to play. It has a lot of built-in like Nuzlocke support and randomizer support. And so whatever weird way you like to play through Pokemon games these days, it supports it, and it's awesome.
I'm looking at this and I'm so interested. Ooh.
Yeah. My starter, I got a Chikorita, who is a male Chikorita that I named Amab, and makes me happy.
Assigned Meganium at birth?
Yeah, exactly right.
It took me a second to cook that. This looks great.
But like, look, come on, this is like, you're telling me this is Pokemon? This is Pokemon that I could play?
Oh,
it's like, that looks like Emerald, my guy. But
that's Emerald with a Gen 2 Pokemon in it.
Yeah.
Spicy stuff, Magellan.
Spicy stuff. What about you? What's your Chatsum?
I'm gonna do double Chatsum so that we don't both just do Pokemon stuff.
Double Chatsum. Let's just both do Pokemon stuff. Come on. Sorry.
I didn't say anything. Listener, I said nothing. I just used my eyebrows. Okay, my Pokemon Chatsum is the new game, Pokemon Champions. Alan, what the hell is that? Why do I keep hearing about it on my social media? Well, it's a free-to-play Switch game, soon to be on mobile, where in this summer they're going to put it on mobile. It essentially is trying to synthesize competitive VGC Pokemon into one new game that will be, in theory, the future of VGC, which is like video game competition version of Pokemon. It allows you to transfer all of your guys from Pokemon Home, which has been for the last couple of years the sort of central hub of every Switch and older Pokemon game, and put them into Champions. They all flatten their levels. You don't have to worry about EVs. You can control IVs manually via point system and move sets and natures and held items. It's all in there. It is limited in terms of what Pokemon it allows you to bring into the game. It doesn't have everybody in it. They're like deliberately, it's a limited format on purpose, and they're going to widen that over time, or probably change it more likely. A slightly limited move set, and definitely a limited item set. That's the biggest one. Is there's a lot of like very busted items that break competitive that are not in the game yet. It has served as a surprisingly good onboarding for somebody like myself who never really got into VGC. Not only because like it seemed like a lot of work, but it just seems really complicated. And I play TCG, which is like its own different level of complicated. VGC has always seemed really arcane and weird, and like I know people who hyperfixate on it. It's big on YouTube. People love to watch VGC, but Champions is like, hey, this game looks great, and it lets you bring in almost everybody that you have from before, and play ranked battles against strangers. go at it. Singles and doubles. Nice Christian Pokemon game. The monetization is surprisingly nice. You can rent your entire team or buy them with currency if you don't have the other games. But if you do, then go ahead and even if you're like, oh, my Chikorita is level 5, well, they have to be fully evolved. But once they're fully evolved, just toss them right in there. Don't worry about EVs and IVs. We'll fix them for you. So it's just like super accessible. And for me, and I'll talk about this a lot on an upcoming Creature Quorum, it's like getting me to play the other Pokemon games. Because I'm like, well, I know that Sneasler is really meta relevant, but I don't feel like waiting to rent Sneasler. So let me go play Legends ZA and then catch a Sneasel and learn how to evolve it in that game. And then I'll bring it here. Or like, how do I get Basculegion?
Cool.
Yeah, it ends up working for me, at least in the reverse, where in theory, it's supposed to be like, oh, you don't have to do the bullshit in other games. And I'm like, no, I kind of want to do the bullshit in other games. Let me go catch Basculegion.
You just don't want to do all the bullshit in other games of like EV training and breeding and like all this time consuming. It's like, I'll go catch
the thing and put it in.
That's how the game is.
Catch him, get his moveset there if you want. It's usually a little tedious, but you can get his moveset to whatever you want. But inevitably, you're going to change it because that's how team building works. Is you're like, oh, maybe I don't want Protect. Blah, blah. That you do all in Champions with their little VP currency system. It's great. I'm surprisingly enjoying it quite a bit. I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't know if it's ready for prime time yet. I don't think that like they should host Worlds in it yet.
It's very buggy right now. Yeah.
It's buggy in the format. The meta is like wonky as fuck. There's like a couple teams that just dominate completely. But give it a shot while it's still new and people are messing around in low levels of ranked. That's Pokemon Champions. My other quickie Chatzum. You know what? I can't even remember it. I was gonna make something up for my YouTube Rex. I don't got it. That's a double Pokemon Chatzum for y'all. Bam. Bam. Thank you so much for listening to Chatz. Thank you to Magellan for being the Dimension A Allen to my Dimension B Allen. Are we the same person? Could we be completely different people? The point is,
we were sent to host this podcast,
and we do it across a Discord call. I think I'm looking the right way. No, you're not looking the right way.
Oh no.
Thanks everybody for listening to Chatz. Sincerely, we really appreciate you, and peace out. Bye.